Welcome back to CBS4K, and this is Menace. We're first going to be looking at the cinematic trailer, then we're going to be looking at an interview with a couple of developers at Gamescom by PC Gamer, and then we might take a brief look at the Steam page. So, without further ado, let's begin. Oh, yeah. They had a posting of that on their Steam page where they show the recent developments, and yeah, they saw different armor types and the different weapon types, and that looks like heavy armor they're using to lead an assault. Command pirates, lots of flash, obviously. Cover your eyes. Oh, that's a biomass. That looks like a whale. I guess that's an alien threat you'll be going after in the game. I'm actually quite curious to see how that will look out. That will look. Not look out. How that would look in the game. Okay, well, let's go back here. I like the different weapons that they showcased here. And I also like the look, the chaoticness of what appears to be the battles. It's a nice little teaser of what the game is going to be about, and plus they showed the alien menace. That's a nice little idea of what the game's going to be about. In case you didn't notice, in Menace you start off in basically as a gang, well, not a mercenary, but a group of special marines that are sent in to investigate a situation in a certain sector of space. You first start fighting off pirates, but then you devolve into fighting a alien threat of unknown origins. And it looks like they showcased a little bit of it. Can't wait to see it. Fascinating. Anyway, let's move on to...
Overhype Studios have been teasing their newest game, Menace, since 2023. Best known as the developers of 2D turn-based RPG Blood Brothers,
Hold up. Blood Brothers? PC Gamer? What? I'm not just... Okay. I don't feel bad for any mistakes I make going forward with this because I'm a solo one-man operation. So that's fair. Okay.
This switches up the setting to sci-fi, swaps mercenaries for mech suits, and makes the leap to beautifully boxy retro-futuristic 3D graphics.
I want to talk about the detail here.
The leap to
Look at the detail on the snow ground. Look at the detail on the vehicles. Look at the detail on the soldiers. Look at the scuff marks on the cannon. Like, this is an artillery piece. Look at this dude. I think that this game has a lot of potential. And I don't mean that in like, oh, it's probably going to be good. Like, no, I think this has a lot of potential. We'll see. Because I have been wrong about things before. And, oh yeah, if you want to catch this video on its own without me talking over it, then I'll leave a link in the description. But let's continue.
Futuristic 3D graphics. But as we found out when we sat down with Overhype at Gamescom, Menace still shares the same DNA as its medieval.
Let's look at the objectives. Sabotage fuel tanks, sabotage the factory generator, get all units to the evac zone, details, daytime, weather clear. Oh, okay, so daytime is day, weather's clear. And look, they have different types of units. This unit, she is a vehicle unit, meaning that she drives a vehicle. She's a pilot, so she drives a vehicle. They explain it that way in the thing, but I just call it a vehicle unit. I just go, yeah, she's just some kind of vehicle or whatever. But no, you can see her stats. I don't even want to assume anything about the stats, so we'll just move on.
Full bear.
Because again, the game's not out. I didn't really have a chance to look at what the stats do and how important they are.
Put down every dog!
How did your time with Battle Brothers influence your approach to Menace?
We aimed for having a game that's very different from Battle Brothers, at the same time feels like Battle Brothers. So what for us makes Battle Brothers a good game is it generates stories, it gives players freedom, and it has like in very intense moments where really clutch moments that are exciting and where decisions really matter. And at the same time, we wanted it to be a little bit less frustrating and a little bit easier to get into, because Battle Brothers is very hard to get into.
Battle Brothers is very... Yeah, it does have a few like humps you gotta get through. Like the first 10 days of Battle Brothers is like the worst your mercy company probably will be throughout the whole game. Hopefully. Like, especially if you play on Iron Man. Oh, man. I played it on Iron Man a few times. That was a bad idea. Especially my first few playthroughs. Like, oh, that was a really bad idea. I play through on just save states for right now, and it's so difficult to really get going in that game. Because there's a lot of problems that come your way. A lot.
And making it a little bit more approachable would go a long way. Also creatively, we put it into a sci-fi setting because we needed a creatively, like a new room to work in. And the fantasy realm was like really done for us now, and we needed like a completely fresh setting for fresh ideas.
That is fair. A lot of people try to milk a franchise to death. And I honestly think it's better just to move on after you do a very... Like, how are they going to top Battle Brothers with Battle Brothers 2? Like, I don't think they can. Their best move is to just move on to something else. And try to expand on their different franchises and IPs that they have.
Ideas and... but I'm sure that everybody who likes Battle Brothers will find something in Menace as well.
Could you tell us about the sci-fi setting of Menace?
The setting basically is a futuristic one with spacefaring, and you end up in a system that is cut off from the core worlds, like the classical core worlds, where you act basically as a space sheriff, so to speak. And in general, like the setting is, there's this classic mix of retro sci-fi. It's like aliens, like they have to push buttons, but they're still flying through space. And
an example of that would be Alien or Aliens from the 1970s and 1980s. That was a good franchise because their retro technology plus the future technology kind of it added a sense of character and I would say a layer of uniqueness to that universe. So yeah, that it works pretty well.
To other star systems, so it's not Star Trek touchscreen sci-fi, but it's a very old school, very grounded sci-fi, and this is reflected also in the look of the characters and the tech level of the weaponry. And but we still
you guys like doing grounded stuff. Like Battle Brothers seems very grounded to me.
The freedom to add like fantastic elements as we see fit.
Were you inspired by the Alien movies and other analogs?
I just realized Blood Brothers could have been like a different name for Battle Brothers in a different country or a different region. If that's so, put it in the comments. I might be wrong. PC Gamer might be right.
blog Sci-Fi Media.
Yeah, definitely. We really liked like this very dark 80s sci-fi, which was still on also like action movies like Predator, so in the same vein. But it also had like a little bit of humor as well in it, or like dark humor as well, which fits like the whole Battle Brothers thing as well. Mm-hmm. We have the same writer who did all the writing for Battle Brothers. Good. So and with the style and the setting and the characters, people will feel right at home, I think. Menace will definitely be very brutal as well. So we have like a lot of things happening on
I wouldn't expect anything less from you guys. Always a brutal showcase. Corporal.
Battlefield, people die really easily. If you do like a wrong move, then the whole squad can be gone. So that happens really easily and is part of the deal as well.
But it's not only like serious, as we mentioned before. It's not hilarious. Like people are not cracking jokes all the time, but still they mind like if a squaddy dies in a horrible way, someone might comment like, yeah, he was cheap anyway. So something like this. So sometimes we have it like this, and sometimes we have it a bit more serious and darker, especially with the main enemy in the game, which like horror, body horror, sci-fi, robot, humans. So we have some horror elements in there and psychological elements as well. But I think the type of humor is very similar to Battle Brothers, yeah.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a bit of levity. This is real!
Why did you go with named characters this time rather than...
That's a very interesting question. Because I was opposed to it. But hopefully they will give a decent explanation that will shed some light on it and make me change my mind. Hopefully I'll change my mind by the end of it. They already told... There's already like been a few press releases about why they did it and what they've replaced it with, and I think they're more... Well, let's
randomly generated grunts.
One of the main issues with Battle Bros was that these characters always stayed flat, so they never developed an actual character.
That's true. They didn't really say anything, and they sort of just became like... They became soldier number 2 or soldier number 3. Like, when they died, it's bad, but you can replace them. Like, what? Like, the last guy was a beggar. It wasn't a particularly good fighter. So you can just spend, like, another 30 coin and get a new guy. You can spend another, like, 300 or 200 coin and get a new guy. It gets a little more devastating when you get more expensive people.
Because they were just procedural, and that at some point it became very obvious that this is not going to work. So we looked at other games, and I especially love Jagged Alliance,
Jagged Alliance is a good example of what you're trying to do. The characters in Jagged Alliance feel unique. Their banter, it's probably, I wouldn't say the best I've ever heard. But it's better than standard RPGs. You catch my drift.
There's a lot of characters, so you don't have the same characters every time you play, but they still have dynamic relations. And we also put a lot of work into these relations, like developing. So the more, for example, you bring like 2 characters on a mission, you will get events where they start to getting to know each other, and you learn more about these characters.
Mm-hmm.
And this keeps things like really fresh and interesting, and also these can die permanently, these characters, so they are not like immune to it, and which we think is really important for the immersion and to keep things serious, and that you don't have like unkillable people there.
If characters can permanently die, how badly do you have to do in Menace?
That's my thinking at the same time. Like, oh, that's nice, but people are going to mess up, and they're going to get people killed. So,
before you run out of people.
Yes.
I think we're going to start the early access with around like 16 squad leaders, and for later on we aim to have a total of 26, maybe more.
26. That's not enough. People are going to die.
Given that in a battle you start out with probably around 4 of them, and it can go up to maybe 10. And losing one is not that easy, because every time somebody gets down, you have like a couple of turns time to stay.
Okay, that sounds okay. But you just said people unkillable makes it boring or something like that. But all right, well, I can see you wanted to do it this way, so you made a happy medium. All right.
Realize and rescue them, and then they will be injured and so on. So having them permanently die is pretty rare, but at the same time, it's not that bad. So you can lose at least 10 of these characters until it gets to be a serious problem.
Can you talk about the structure of the game leading into missions?
Once you arrive in the Wayback system, there is
The Wayback system. Okay. I know the name of it.
An amount of planets, and each planet has like its different biome and factions. So, for example, one planet is called Mog, and there's usually like a desert environment, and these factions will then request your help. So they will give you like a sort of a cry for help that you should come over and help them with some pirate problem. And these operations are also timing out, so you have to manage a little bit like whom you help first, or sometimes you cannot help somebody, and then you're.
Oh, okay. So it's like you gotta choose what to help. All right. That could
relationship
work.
with them will suffer, and if you help them out with the pirate problem, you will increase the trust with them, and then they will help you upgrade your ship because you are cut off from your logistics, of course. So you have.
Okay, ship upgrades. If you do, all right. That does add a level of tactical thinking about who you help and who you don't help. That could work well. Yeah, that blends well with the missions. Because helping them out will help you out. And, for instance, if you do really well on a mission and collect a bunch of stuff, or you help out a great deal, you can operate your ship better. Yeah.
To rely on the locals. And these operations are basically a connection of missions, and that's procedurally generated. So in first it's only 3 missions deep, but then later on it goes up to 5, and it gets more and more complex.
What's the narrative structure of Menace?
Mm-hmm.
It has an actual story and an actual ending as well. So the story is, of course, about the Menace and how it comes into the system and how people react to it, and what you can do to stop it. The efforts to stop the enemy will actually hinge on your efforts. And at the same time, we try to keep these story beats as minimal and as least invasive as possible, because we don't want players to think, oh, I have to do this again, and it's the exact same mission. We don't want that to happen. We want to have it as procedurally as possible.
Okay. Again, this could work if you focus on the procedural part of it.
Giving like some structure and some guidance to the whole thing. Replayability is like our number one thing. So all the battle maps, like the missions, the mission rewards, the operations, the maps.
I like the look of the maps here. Secure the outpost, daytime, sandstorm. Oh, so the weather shifts with a sandstorm. I wonder what debuffs you get or buffs you get.
Themselves, the enemy compositions, the troops, like what you're getting, like in terms of equipment, and all of that is procedural, and so you can play it like over and over again and try different tactics, and you definitely end up somewhere else. And also we have so many squad leaders that every playthrough you have like a different combination of them maybe, and then you see like newer interactions between them and learn more about like new characters. So to keep things fresh.
What is it about this genre of game that appeals to you so much?
First of all, we really love turn-based strategy games or turn-based tactics games. This is what we love and what we want to play. Yeah. Because we want to sit down with a coffee and think about what we're doing, and not like this hectic, super adrenaline rush gameplay. And also, as Jan mentioned at the beginning, like the most important thing for our games is like, first of all, the replayability, then your choices, that it's a sandbox, like a game sandbox. We as a designers, we put up a challenge for you, but we don't design the solution for this challenge. Like, it's up to you. We give you a toolbox and now come up with a solution. So
that's a very interesting way to look at it. You're providing us the tools to figure out solutions to various problems. That's a very good way of looking at it.
This is absolutely essential, and this is what we love about these games. Yeah.
One aspect to Menace that wasn't really like that in Battle Royals, and that's what I would call army building. So we are big like Warhammer fans as well, and I really loved it.
Really?
army building, like theory craftings, like thinking about, okay, what item to give to what character, and this is something that you really will find in Menace.
An example of that would be Mechanicus. There's a couple of Warhammer games that are on my channel. You can check those out. And just, yeah, if you want to know what they're talking about, just check out a few of my Warhammer stuff on my channel. I would recommend Mechanicus. Also, I would recommend Chaos Gate Demon Hunters. Like, it takes a few hours to beat that game.
As well, especially.
It could be a good or a bad thing. Look at the names here. Looky. The name's in Nookie. I didn't know how to rhyme that. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Let's continue. Crowbar. Oh, they got different names for the battle rifle. Rocket launcher. Fatigues. Yeah, there's different armor sets, and fatigue is the weakest.
Actually, as you get later into the game, you have so many items, so many options that each player would.
Mm-hmm. There's a recon skybot. Oh, and there's different things you can equip. Oh, that is very interesting. You can have a recon droid. Oh. I think I missed that in the dev diaries.
Be able to build basically their own army and see like their own tactics come to life, and also this theory crafting and thinking about like what to try out next is like really big part of the fun for me.
How were you inspired by tabletop and wargaming?
We've been playing games like for whole life, like pen and paper and even live action role play. And a lot of Warhammer 40k, and Paul just got back into the old world, like Warhammer Fantasy. Yeah. For me personally, I really like the turn-based structure of games because it gives so much order to something that's in reality is really chaotic.
Yes.
And it creates these little pauses and spaces that you can fill out with your fantasy, where you can anticipate what's going to happen and play through different scenarios. And if you actually predict what's going to happen and follow the right course of action, it's really big satisfaction.
Warhammer Tabletop is actually not as well known as I expected it to be amongst gamers, like video gamers. Menace draws a lot of inspiration from the actual, not from the Warhammer universe only, but especially from the actual Warhammer Tabletop game, like with the deployment zones, with the point limits, with the squad system, with the squad leaders that don't wear helmets, with a squad has one special weapon and a lot of squad weapons, and with the mechs and the customization and the equipment cards, and it's the objectives. It's actually it draws actually a lot of inspiration, not from other video games, but from tabletop games, and especially Warhammer 40k. Yeah,
that's a good way to draw inspiration. Is from other places.
Absolutely.
Who is your target audience for Menace?
We don't have the illusion of our games ever being mainstream because, as Paul already said,
that is a smart answer. That is a very smart answer. You can never assume your stuff is mainstream. If it gets in the mainstream, that's good. But your goal, like this is like a tip from someone who's been playing video games almost his whole life, who's been watching various different movies and TV shows and watching niche things, and I'm so frustrated watching these franchises that are very niche and are very appreciated in their niches try to go mainstream and just shoot themselves in the foot because they don't know what made them so good was that uniqueness. And they go instead try to be bland, this universal thing, and it doesn't work because how could it? There's nothing unique or special about you. When you get into the mainstream, your best move is to maintain your niche uniqueness even harder so that people will flock to it still. I want to give an example of this, but like the main example that comes to mind is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was a very comic books are a niche thing. They're a niche genre, and people, especially superheroes, that's a niche thing. they tried to be so much more inclusive to everybody, tried to be very, very mainstream, and as a result, they lost their uniqueness, they lost their personality, and they just became bland slop. And there was nothing they can do about it. And they're trying to fix it now, apparently. I heard the last couple of movies were pretty good, but at the same time, nobody went and saw them, so, like, dude, it's too late now. But I like that they're coming at it. But back to the Menace developers, Overhype Studios, they're focusing on that audience. That's good. That's so good. Because that will make a very interesting and fun game for, hey, it's me, I'm the audience. It'll make a game for me that I'll love.
Turn-based strategy is a niche. It's like XCOM basically broke out of the niche, but now it fell back in. And there's nobody filling the void. But we think that within the realm of turn-based combat or tactics games, it has the chance to appeal to a lot of people because everybody can find something different in it.
Yes.
Somebody will enjoy the army building. Somebody will enjoy the RPG elements and reading about the characters. Somebody will just enjoy the graphics or the destruction or maybe the brutality.
Yes, exactly. There's so many layers to it, and I can't even, like, he's going into detail about some of them, but I can't really summarize it as well as he's doing it. That's impressive.
As well.
Contact. How do you see this in relation to XCOM and
This dude is coming in with questions that are actually good.
direction XCOM took?
For me, the main issue with the newer XCOM games was that they were so much more on the puzzle side and on the gamey side and less on the simulation.
How are you giving all these good responses, bro? Yes, it's a much more of a puzzle game. Surprise, like, XCOM 2 was kind of a puzzle game. Well, kind of a puzzle game with guns and death. But, still a puzzle game. In many ways. It has less assimilation to it.
Which is things like shots not being actually modeled and the equipment being like very simplified and the ammunition system. And so for me it was a great game, but it was not simulation-like enough for me personally. And also the scope is very different. So for Menace we have like squads of up to 9 people plus like vehicles, mechs, like multiple. And the whole battlefield is a much bigger, and it's a little bit more like a war game compared to like a small unit tactics game.
Yeah, it's much more expansive than XCOM. XCOM is very narrow focused, and that could be very useful because it lets you modify characters, lets you develop them. But you solve that problem by making them. By making non-procedural characters and made them story characters, like you gave them a narrative position within your story. That was a good idea. And the reason it's a good idea is, like you said, it gives them a personality that you can use to write them in future gameplay and in future DLC and future iterations of the game. So, yeah, that can work out. Because Battle Brothers, again, like you said, they were flat. They were characters who had one personality note to them, maybe. They didn't really say anything in battle. They were just mute mannequins that did tasks, and sometimes they had certain abilities or traits, but that really, for the most part, that was like a stat increase or decrease depending on what the trait was.
I think this is one of the core things that you mentioned, is that it's great that XCOM was so simplified because you can get into it very easily and play it very fast. But
yes, that was one of its best features. It was a very simple tactics game. And it also was a very simple strategy game. It wasn't terribly complex, but it wasn't boring, or it wasn't simple enough so you'd be bored by it or it would be useless. But it made I'll put it to you like this. It's a great way to start playing tactical and strategy games. It's a great opening for people who have never played them before.
But the more you simplify something and you move away from a simulation, you lose the ability to create stories, because there's you limit the number of things that can happen. You cannot hit your own guys in XCOM, maybe with a grenade, but there's not a bullet, a stray bullet that kills one of your own guys, or they flee, or something wacky happens. So it's very limited, and the more you reduce the systems and you more simplify the systems, the less stories are going to be generated, in my opinion. So
you were absolutely right. I learned that when I played Open XCOM for the first time. Open XCOM felt more alive than Firaxis' XCOM, because Firaxis' XCOM had certain limits to what you could do.
If you are more on the simulation side, a lot more things can happen. You can run out of ammunition. You can resupply, but then you have to do this and that, and all of a sudden you have a big story developing during gameplay, because you have so many moving parts that so many things can happen that you can talk about. I think this is, for me personally, the core difference. But we get compared to it a lot, because also a lot of people don't really know anything else besides XCOM, and there is not much else besides XCOM.
If Menace looks like something
The thing about this is XCOM doesn't have that much competition. This looks like a game that will give them competition, and I'm excited for it.
like to get your teeth stuck into, you can go over to Steam.
There's some games that are very XCOM-like, but for the most part, there's nothing that has that same mechanics XCOM has. That doesn't have the same simulation that XCOM puts forth in its storytelling. And I feel like this game could easily surpass them or match them at the very least. And I'm curious to see how the market reacts. They have a demo coming out soon, I think at the end of September. So that will be an interesting moment to see how well this game lands. I will probably be playing the demo.
Wishlist the game right now. For more previews on the latest games, as well as in-depth developer interviews, reviews, and more, subscribe to PC Gamer.
Okay, let's go onto the Steam page. Alright, look at this. They got nice defend. Houses from entering the target zone. Okay. Looks like a defense mission. I like the look of the different characters here. I like the armor sets. I like the look of the spaceship. Mech's a good idea. It's always a good idea in any game. Nice look at tank. Okay, there's various updates. I'm not going to read all that. You guys can read that. High stakes, tactical battles, character-driven experience, endless replayability. That's an interesting stance, because I want to. Procedurally generated multi-mission operation battle maps alongside a big selection of characters, countless equipment options. Every one of them plays differently from the last. Find yourself face-to-face. Insurmountable challenge that takes multiple forms across playfield and put your strategic and tactical prowess to test in new ways each time. Yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on it. This looks pretty good. I would read all this stuff for you guys, but I feel like there's a ton here. I feel like you guys could read that on your own. And Menace seems like it would be a lot of fun. Let's hope that it lives up to its, it lives up to the excitement and hype that was built up in that interview. The interview was solid. All right, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you like this and you want to see more, the subscribe button is there, as well as the like button. And don't forget to hit the bell icon. It'll keep you updated on new stuff that gets put up on my channel. And thank you so much for subscribing if you haven't already and you're about to. And thank you so much if you've already subscribed. I'm almost at 500, and it's all because of all of you. I didn't do any of the subscribing. You guys did all that. That's you. That's your work. All I did was put the videos together and put them up. You did me the service of hitting the subscribe button, and I appreciate that. And I will do my best to better represent that. Not just now, but in the future. All right. Thanks for stopping by.